the evening of March 17, 1990, a charity gala at the Beverly Hilton in Los Angeles brought together some of the biggest names of the time. Tickets cost $10,000 a plate, all to benefit children's hospitals across California. Mike Tyson was there, 23 years old, the undisputed heavyweight champion with 37 wins and 33 knockouts. He came with his wife, Robin Givens, though their marriage was already falling apart. Arnold Schwarzenegger was there too, 42, riding high off hits like Terminator, Predator, and the recently released Total Recall. He was with his wife, Maria Shriver, to whom he'd been married for 2 years. The evening started with cocktails at 7. Tyson didn't touch alcohol. He was saving himself for his upcoming fight with Frank Bruno. Schwarzenegger, on the other hand, was sipping champagne. As Tyson stood near the bar with club soda, Schwarzenegger approached him. His voice was loud, deep, with that unmistakable Austrian accent. "I'm a big fan," he said. "I watch all your fights." They chatted politely at first. Schwarzenegger suggested they train together sometime, showing Tyson some bodybuilding tips. Tyson politely said no, explaining that his training was all about boxing and extra muscle might slow him down. The conversation took a turn when Schwarzenegger mentioned his own boxing background from Austria, saying he could have been a heavyweight if he'd pursued it. "It's more than just size," Tyson said. Schwarzenegger pressed the point, suggesting Tyson's height was a disadvantage and that if he were taller, 6'4" instead of 5'10", he'd dominate even more. But Tyson calmly explained that being taller might make him slower and easier to hit. Schwarzenegger, on his second or third glass of champagne, kept going. He said that in a real fight, no rules, size would win. "Real fight?" Tyson asked quietly. "Yeah, street fight. No gloves, no rules. I'd have the advantage. Reach, strength, size," Schwarzenegger said. "But you don't know how to fight," Tyson said. "I know boxing and judo," Schwarzenegger replied. "I'm not helpless." "Some boxing and some judo isn't the same as fighting for real," Tyson said. Robin Givens noticed the tension and suggested they go find their table for dinner. Tyson told her to wait. Schwarzenegger, still smiling and clearly thinking it was playful, suggested a demonstration, light sparring for the guests. Givens protested, "This isn't a good idea." Schwarzenegger pressed on. "You scared I might surprise you?" Tyson's face went blank. "I'm not scared of you." "Then let's do it, right here. Show everyone what you got," Schwarzenegger said. Near the bar, there was a small open space, about 20 by 20 feet with a marble floor. Schwarzenegger walked over, taking off his jacket and handing it to Maria Shriver, who looked worried. Givens grabbed Tyson's arm. "Don't do it, he's drunk. He doesn't know what he's doing." "Exactly," Tyson said. "So I'll teach him." About 50 people quickly gathered, more arriving as word spread. Schwarzenegger bounced lightly, rolling his shoulders, practicing moves he'd done in countless movies. Someone in the crowd asked if it would be light contact. "Of course, just a demonstration," Schwarzenegger said. "Nothing serious." Tyson relaxed, hands at his sides. Schwarzenegger assumed a boxing stance, wrong form, elbows too high, feet too close together, head too far forward. He threw a slow, obvious jab. Tyson let it stop 6 inches from his face. The crowd laughed nervously. "Come on, Mike, you gotta defend yourself. That's the point," Schwarzenegger said. "Defend myself from what? You're not trying to hit me," Tyson replied. "I am. I'm keeping it light." "That's not light, that's fake. If you throw a punch, throw it for real." Schwarzenegger's pride was up. He threw another jab, a bit harder. Tyson slipped it easily. He threw a cross. Tyson slipped that too. The crowd appreciated Tyson's skill. Frustrated, Schwarzenegger threw a combination: jab, cross, hook. Tyson dodged all three effortlessly, making Schwarzenegger look slow. "You gonna throw anything back or just dance?" Schwarzenegger asked, through breathing hard. "I'm waiting for you to actually hit me. Then I'll respond," Tyson said. Schwarzenegger's face turned red. Embarrassment, anger, and the effects of alcohol. He threw a wild hook with real effort, trying to land a punch and prove his point. Tyson ducked beneath it. Schwarzenegger was completely off balance and vulnerable. Rather than throwing a punch, Tyson stepped inside Schwarzenegger's reach and placed his hand on Schwarzenegger's chest with a light, almost gentle touch, and pushed. Schwarzenegger stumbled backward, his feet tangled, and he fell, landing hard on the marble floor in front of 300 people. The room went silent. Schwarzenegger sat on the floor, shocked. The fall hadn't hurt him, but it was humiliating. "Size don't mean shit if you don't know how to use it," Tyson said quietly, though everyone heard. Schwarzenegger got to his feet, brushed off his pants, and attempted to laugh it off. "Good move. Caught me off guard." "Everything catches you off guard. You don't know how to fight. You just know how to look like you're fighting. There's a difference," Tyson said. "I know how to fight," Schwarzenegger said louder with anger. "No, you don't, but you can learn. Right now. You want to?" The crowd grew uncomfortable. The situation was no longer entertaining, but serious. Maria Shriver stepped forward. "Arnold, let's go. This is ridiculous." Schwarzenegger shook her off. His ego wouldn't allow him to walk away after being pushed down publicly. "If he wants to fight, we'll fight." "You sure about that?" Tyson asked. "Yeah, I'm sure." Tyson shrugged. "All right." He didn't wait for Schwarzenegger to prepare. He moved with speed that half the crowd couldn't track. Tyson stepped in and his left hand shot out, not a full punch, approximately 70% power. It caught Schwarzenegger cleanly on the nose. The sound was sharp and wet. Schwarzenegger's head snapped back. His hands flew to his face. Blood began pouring from his nose. Someone screamed. Tyson stepped back, hands dropping to his sides. "You done?" Schwarzenegger held his nose as blood ran through his fingers and dripped onto his white shirt. He was in shock, never having experienced that kind of power. "You broke my nose," Schwarzenegger said, his voice muffled and nasal. "Maybe, hard to tell. Could just be bleeding," Tyson said. Maria Shriver arrived with napkins, attempting to stop the bleeding. "Someone call an ambulance," she said. "He don't need an ambulance." "It's just a bloody nose. Put pressure on it. Tilt his head back," Tyson said. Security personnel arrived, 3 men in suits who had been watching from a distance. "What happened here?" the head security officer asked. "They were sparring," someone in the crowd said. The security officer looked at Schwarzenegger's bloody face and at Tyson standing calm and unmarked. "This don't look like sparring." "He asked me to show him real fighting. I showed him," Tyson said. Schwarzenegger was led away by Maria Shriver and the security team, still holding his nose and bleeding. His evening was ruined, as was his ego. The crowd buzzed with conversation. This was 1990, before smartphones, but people had cameras. Givens grabbed Tyson's arm. "We need to leave, right now." "Yeah, probably a good idea," Tyson agreed. As they headed for the exit, the crowd parting before them, the event organizer Richard Davenport intercepted them. "Mr. Tyson, I'm going to have to ask you to leave," Davenport said, attempting to remain composed. "Already leaving," Tyson said. "This is unacceptable. This was a charity event, a peaceful gathering, and you assaulted Arnold Schwarzenegger. He wanted to fight. I obliged. Simple as that. He wanted to spar. Friendly, light contact. You broke his nose. He threw real punches at me first. I threw one back. That's how fighting works." "This isn't fighting. This is assault. I'm calling the police." "Call them. I got 300 witnesses who saw him attack me first. Self-defense," Tyson said. Davenport recognized that legally, Tyson was protected. Schwarzenegger had thrown the first punch and insisted on making it real. And Tyson had simply finished what Schwarzenegger started. "Just leave, and don't expect an invitation back," Davenport said. "Wasn't planning on it," Tyson replied. They left in their limousine. In the vehicle, Givens was silent briefly before speaking. "What were you thinking? You just punched Arnold Schwarzenegger at a charity event. Do you know how bad this looks?" "He asked for it. He was drunk and acting stupid. You should have walked away." "I tried. He pushed it." "You broke his nose, Mike." "Maybe, maybe not. Either way, he'll heal. This is going to be everywhere tomorrow. Every newspaper, every TV show. How does that help your image?" "I don't care about my image." "Well, you should. We're trying to rebuild after all the bad press. This doesn't help." Tyson didn't respond, looking out the window. He understood she was correct and that this had been unwise, but his pride hadn't allowed him to walk away after Schwarzenegger questioned his toughness and suggested he couldn't handle larger opponents. The following morning, the incident dominated news coverage. Tyson breaks Schwarzenegger's nose at charity gala. Action star learns real fighting from heavyweight champ. Beverly Hills brawl, Tyson and Schwarzenegger clash. The accounts varied. Some indicated Schwarzenegger had initiated the confrontation. Some suggested Tyson was the aggressor. Photographs showed Schwarzenegger leaving the event with blood on his shirt and Tyson appearing calm. Schwarzenegger's publicist released a statement. Mr. Schwarzenegger was engaged in friendly sparring with Mr. Tyson when things escalated beyond what was intended. Arnold suffered a minor injury but harbors no ill will toward Mike. Both parties agree it was a misunderstanding. Arnold wishes Mike well in his upcoming fight. The statement notably didn't claim Tyson had attacked him or acted wrongly, only that the situation escalated because Schwarzenegger knew he had thrown genuine punches first and insisted on making it real. He simply hadn't expected Tyson to actually engage. Tyson's camp didn't release a statement. Don King handled media inquiries in his typical fashion, converting it into promotion. Mike Tyson is the baddest man on the planet. Arnold Schwarzenegger learned that the hard way, but Mike showed restraint. One punch could have done much worse. That's the sign of a true professional, King told reporters. Sports analysts largely sided with Tyson. Arnold Schwarzenegger's been playing tough guys in movies for years. Maybe he started believing his own image. Mike Tyson reminded him that there's a difference between pretending to fight and actually fighting. Arnold's lucky Mike held back, one ESPN commentator said. Film industry representatives defended Schwarzenegger, noting he was intoxicated and that professional fighters shouldn't use their skills against untrained individuals. However, video footage told the complete story. Someone at the event had recorded the incident with a camcorder. The footage showed Schwarzenegger throwing the first punch, insisting on making it real, and Tyson attempting to keep it light until Schwarzenegger forced escalation. The footage aired repeatedly on news programs, often in slow motion, showing the complete sequence of events. The public opinion shifted. Most people concluded that Schwarzenegger had initiated the confrontation and Tyson had responded appropriately. Schwarzenegger's nose was broken, a hairline fracture that would heal in 6 weeks without surgery, just painful and embarrassing. Schwarzenegger didn't grant interviews about the incident. His representatives indicated he was focusing on his next film and moving forward with no hard feelings. Privately, Schwarzenegger was humiliated. The entertainment industry was aware and discussing it. The world's biggest action star had been dropped by one punch from Mike Tyson. It affected his image temporarily. Schwarzenegger was too established for permanent damage, but late-night comedians had material for weeks. Schwarzenegger accepted it without complaint, the understanding that playing the victim would worsen the situation. Approximately 2 months later at a smaller, more private event, someone asked Schwarzenegger about that night. He answered carefully, "I made a mistake. I'd been drinking. I got cocky. I thought I knew more about fighting than I did. Mike taught me a lesson. I'm grateful he didn't hurt me worse than he did." Asked if Tyson had held back, Schwarzenegger said, "I know he did. Mike Tyson's one of the most dangerous men alive. He could have put me in the hospital. He chose not to. That's discipline. That's control. I respect that." Asked if he would repeat the experience, Schwarzenegger laughed. "Absolutely not. I learned my lesson. I stick to movie fights now. I'll leave the real fighting to professionals like Mike." This was the closest Schwarzenegger came to publicly acknowledging what occurred. It was strategically sound, admitting error, showing humility, complimenting Tyson, and moving forward. Tyson never discussed it publicly in detail. When reporters asked, he dismissed it casually. "It was nothing. Guy wanted to spar. We sparred. He learned something, that's all." Asked if he regretted it. "Nah, he asked for it. I gave him exactly what he asked for. Maybe next time he'll think before he talks shit." Years later, after Tyson's prison sentence and the end of his fighting career, someone raised the incident in an interview. Arnold's a good dude, successful, smart. But that night he let the alcohol and his ego get to him, started talking about how size matters in fighting. How he could have competed as a boxer, how he thought he could beat me in a real fight. I tried to let it go, tried to just smile and nod, but he pushed it, insisted on proving his point. "So I proved mine," Tyson said. "Which was? That size don't mean shit if you don't know how to fight. Arnold's big, strong, in great shape, but he never trained to fight for real. I've been training since I was 13 years old under the best coach who ever lived. You can't compare bodybuilding to boxing, can't compare acting to actual fighting. Arnold found that out in about 3 seconds. You feel bad about it? Nah, he wanted the truth. I gave it to him, one punch. Could have done way worse, showed restraint. He should be grateful." Robin Givens, by then his ex-wife, provided her perspective in a separate interview years later. "Gee, that night was so typical of Mike back then. Someone challenged him and he couldn't walk away. His pride wouldn't let him. Arnold was drunk and stupid, but Mike should have been the bigger person. Instead, he broke Arnold's nose at a charity event. It was embarrassing for everyone." Asked if she thought Tyson was wrong. "I think Mike was technically right. Arnold did start it. But being right isn't always what matters. Sometimes you have to be smart. Walking away would have been smarter." Don King provided his version as well, converting it into promotional narrative. Mike Tyson showed the world that night that he's not just a boxer, he's a warrior. Arnold Schwarzenegger, one of the toughest guys in Hollywood, learned that movie muscles don't compare to real fighting skill. Mike could have destroyed him. Instead, he gave him a lesson with one punch. That's mastery. Security footage from the hotel existed, but was never publicly released. The hotel wanted to avoid the liability and negative publicity associated with a violent incident at their venue. A bartender who worked that night shared his account years later when the hotel was closing. "I was working the bar that night, saw the whole thing. Arnold kept drinking and getting louder, started talking about fighting. Mike was just standing there trying to stay out of it, but Arnold wouldn't let it go. Kept pushing, kept saying he could take Mike in a real fight. Finally, Mike said, "Okay, let's go." They moved to the open area. Arnold threw a few punches. Mike made him look silly. Then Mike pushed him down. Arnold got back up, demanded more. Mike hit him once, broke his nose, blood everywhere. It was crazy. But honestly, Arnold asked for it. Mike tried to avoid it. Arnold forced it. Richard Davenport, the event organizer, never invited either man to subsequent events, but privately admitted Tyson had been justified. Arnold started it. I saw the whole thing. Arnold was drunk, talking shit, throwing punches. Mike defended himself. I can't blame him for that. I'm just upset it happened at my event, Davenport told friends. Maria Shriver never spoke about it publicly, but sources close to her indicated she was furious with Schwarzenegger, not with Tyson, for being intoxicated and foolish and initiating a fight he couldn't win. She told Arnold he was an idiot, told him he could have gotten seriously hurt, told him he's lucky Mike showed restraint. She was embarrassed, not for Mike, for Arnold, one associate said. On March 17th, 1990, at the Beverly Hilton Hotel, Arnold Schwarzenegger, influenced by champagne and ego, challenged Mike Tyson, suggesting that size and strength would overcome boxing skill in a genuine fight. He insisted on proving his point. Mike Tyson, weary of being disrespected, decided to educate Schwarzenegger, demonstrating that film industry muscles meant nothing against authentic fighting technique. He broke Schwarzenegger's nose with one punch. He could have inflicted more damage, but chose not to. 300 people witnessed it. Some documented it with cameras. All remembered it. The incident was partially suppressed. It never became as prominent as it could have because both parties wanted it minimized. Schwarzenegger because he was embarrassed, Tyson because it represented negative publicity. But it occurred. The footage exists somewhere. The witnesses remember. The evening Arnold Schwarzenegger learned the distinction between being an action star and being an actual fighter. The evening Mike Tyson proved once again that he was the most dangerous man on the planet. One punch, 3 seconds, one lesson delivered. Schwarzenegger never challenged anyone to fight again, returning to his films, his acting, his carefully choreographed stunts. Tyson returned to training and fought Frank Bruno several weeks later, knocking him out in the 5th round. Everyone present that night acquired a story they would tell for the rest of their lives. The night they watched Arnold Schwarzenegger attempt to fight Mike Tyson, and the night they watched Mike Tyson teach the Terminator that he was very much human. Despite both parties wanting it forgotten, the story survived because 300 people witnessed it, and you cannot make 300 people forget something that shocking and dramatic. Arnold Schwarzenegger attempted to strike Mike Tyson. Tyson's response left everyone present speechless. One punch, one broken nose, one lesson that neither man forgot.